On today's episode of How to Mustang, I'm going to go over some of the technology features of the new 7th gen Ford Mustang. We're going to talk about the ways this tech can make your driving experience better while simplifying and enhancing your choice of fun. I've had a lot of time to spend with the Mustang since it's been out, and I know that there's so many things that the car is capable of that maybe you've not been explained. So I want to take some time, share with you guys, show you some of my favorite settings, and hopefully enhance your experience behind the wheel of your all-new Mustang. Now with the 7th gen Mustang, Ford launched what I consider like an amazing party trick, remote rev. You can literally rev your Mustang with your key fob. It's available on all Mustangs with active exhaust, whether you have a V8 or the EcoBoost. You remote start your car, make sure that it's been running for 30 seconds, press the unlock and lock button within 3 seconds of each other, and it revs your car's engine. Super rad for cars and coffee, playing with the neighbors, surprising people. You know, you've been in a parking lot, people are gawking on your car, you want to hit them with a little rev. Why not? So moving on to the interior, first when you sit in the Mustang, the first thing you notice is the cockpit layout. It's like stepping into a futuristic fighter jet. Like everything is angled at you. It's very driver-centric, slightly mixed between a fighter jet and a spaceship would be my best explanation. And the graphics are crazy. I kind of wanted to say Unreal, but it's the Unreal Engine that does it, and I didn't think that that pun would be very funny, so we're just gonna keep going with that. So yeah, the graphics are just incredible, and Ford did an amazing job like connecting what we are so used to seeing in gaming in the vehicle for that enhanced experience. I mean, everything is 3D, you can move your car around in the screen, look at different views of your car, like it's just super rad and very well thought out, and makes me now, when I get into like a previous gen Mustang, it makes it feel so old. Ford has done a great job making all this technology very easily accessible. One of my favorite buttons in the entire vehicle is the MyMustang button. It's the pony icon just below the screens. You press that and it gets you to all your track apps and a ton of customizable options, including your own profiles for your drive modes and things that you want for your car. So the acceleration timer allows you to know your vehicle's acceleration from 0 to 60 and 0 to 100. This is really cool for if you're modifying your vehicle, you can see your enhancements. Plus it's a bit of gamification, something you can go and have fun in safe areas with and test yourself, whether it's your shifting, your approach, and learn how to drive your Mustang as fast as possible. Your brake performance track app does the opposite of acceleration. It tells you how great you're braking from 60 to 0 and from 100 to 0. That is also really cool if you're changing brake pads, if you're doing different things, different tire compounds, you can know with data from your car that you're actually getting better. Prior to using the brake performance track app, or honestly any type of track day threshold braking, check out your owner's manual and make sure you have bedded in, AKA burnished in, your brakes to make sure they last as long as possible and to make sure you get the greatest brake performance possible. You have your manual lap timer, which is pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna have your lap times inside of the Mustang to see how you're improving. I love this because when you go to new tracks, you're able to figure out what lines are working best for you and kind of put the mark in your brain of where your braking points are, what lines you're taking, when you're picking up the throttle, and how you're earning your best lap. Your performance shift indicator, this is effectively your shift lights. Like, old school drag cars would have the single light on there to come on when it's time to shift. You can fully adjust this for your Mustang, whether you're on the track, whether you're on the drag strip, maybe you wanna shift low and save fuel on the street. I don't know, maybe you have some secret process, but you can set it up to whatever it is that tickles your fancy. The thing I really like about the adjustability of the performance shift indicator is as you mod or add more power or change power delivery, you can adjust that, right? You want to shift just before the car falls off of power, right? You want to be there in the meat of the power, and then when you shift, you want to make sure that it doesn't go below the meat of the power as well. So as you modify your car or learn your car, different types of tires, different things that you're doing, you can adjust this to get maximum performance consistently. So rev matching, this is like the feature that makes an amateur driver feel like a pro. You know, not everybody can heel toe, and not everybody that can heel toe can rev match well. So the computer automatically calculates and knows exactly what the revs need to be to match the speed of the wheels when you're downshifting. Not only does it sound super cool, like a blip downshift, but it is extremely functional on the track. I mean, I've tried it multiple times. I'm not suggesting you do this, but I've gone from like 6th to 3rd, 6th to 2nd, and it does the thing. I mean, it matches the revs absolutely, you know, flawless for the vehicle speed so that you don't miss a beat. And I love this for the novice or the amateur that is learning. It just takes one thing off of their mind so that they can focus on driving until they get the ability and the dexterity to do heel toe confidently and consistently. So the line lock, one of my favorite party tricks that was introduced with the 2015 Mustang. It still as cool as it was 10 years ago. This locks the front brakes, so it basically holds your front tires while you take the load off the powertrain and just do a rear wheel burnout for up to 15 seconds. It's awesome for obviously drag racing and getting ready to go down. It's great for anything that you want some more rear grip, or just to put a smile on people's faces by doing a burnout. I mean, you could even do it in your driveway. Not suggesting that, but you could if you felt so inclined and it was safe, of course. So another feature that's amazing with a manual transmission vehicle is your launch control. This allows you to set your launches to get the least amount of wheel slip and have the most aggressive launch that you can to lurch the car forward, right? And this is something that you would adjust depending on temperatures, depending on humidity, depending on the tires you're using, the surface. You know, this is a massive, massive tool for extracting the best 0 to 60 that you can. Plus, the launch control also sounds extremely cool. Even if you were just, you know, sitting at a light or somewhere else and you just want to bump, 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 it's just cool. I mean, launch control in anything is cool. So thank you, Mustang team, for giving it to us. So something very near and dear to my heart, the drift brake. Myself and Chelsea DeNofo work with the very passionate Mustang engineering team to develop the drift brake. It effectively converts your parking brake into a modulatable drift brake. You press the button, engage it, it automatically puts the vehicle in track mode, and the more you pull the handbrake, the more it locks. And I love that we're able to make it adjustable and not just an on-off switch, because when it's raining or you have a very slick surface, you don't need as much power, you don't need as much lockup. So it allows you to have that adjustability. And honestly, it is the best drift brake I've ever used. Better than the hydro handbrakes in my drift car. Like, they did an amazing job and there's no delay. It's just absolutely instant. The drift brake comes standard on all performance pack equipped vehicles, whether that's EcoBoost, 5 liter, and or Dark Horse. There's a lot to dive into regarding the drift brake, and I'm very excited to show you guys some exercises on how you can become an expert and use it inside of your Mustang on an upcoming episode. Auxiliary gauges. I also absolutely love this. I always want data, and it's nice to see and be able to keep track of what's going on, including cylinder head temp, engine oil temp, transmission oil temp, axle temp, engine oil pressure, inlet air temp, manifold charge temp, intercooler coolant temperature, vacuum or vacuum boost, and voltage. I absolutely love having access to that data and being able to reference it. Like I've always said for years that just having the standard gauges are not enough, especially for vehicles like the Mustang that are so track capable. It's nice to just see those temps. Also know as you're modifying what types of things are changing in the vehicle so you can stay ahead of it and make sure that you are doing the proper things to protect and compensate for any changes you're making from the factory. Another one of my favorite features of the 7th Gen Mustang is the cluster themes. So like I mentioned, Ford used the Unreal Engine for all of the graphics on the displays. It's all digital. So they just change the digital display out. So, I mean, you've got really cool features like, you know, the standard ones that you get with your different modes, that still changes a lot. But now you can do downloadable ones. It came with a Fox body. Ford did an over-the-air update with the first gen Mustang, a 1964 Mustang. Then they just came out with the SVT Cobra dash, which is, you know, very near and dear to many people's hearts, just ticking all the boxes of the OG Mustang, the Fox body, and then the Cobra, which we all love so much. So I just can't wait to see how that continues to evolve in the future. But I love the accessibility to just swap that out and make it feel like a new car. You know, it's these little changes that keep everything fresh all the time, and I love it. MyColor is another really cool personalizable option that's built into the Mustang. You can set your vibe in the car, whether you want like a nice chill blue, you want some red, maybe you're going on a date with your lady and you want to put the, you know, red lights on, or maybe the many women Mustang owners want to put a special color for their dude on. I don't know, but the point is that you can personalize it and you will never have to have the same exact looking interior ever again. So if your vehicle is equipped with active exhaust, you can also adjust your exhaust modes here, right? If you're cruising through the neighborhood, you want it to be quiet, you don't want to wake up the neighborhood, or maybe you want to wake the neighborhood up and you put it in track mode. That's up to you. The point is you have the option to choose. Freedom, Mustang, we're doing this thing. Thank you for all of these options, Ford, to let me be me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I love about it. So now moving on to the favorites button. It's that little star that's just under the screen near the MyMustang button. It allows you to set a favorite feature that you can easily toggle on and off. You can do launch control, auto hold, exhaust mode, calm screen, as well as Rev Match. I usually have mine set to Rev Match or launch control, depending upon what I'm doing. It's just a very easy thing. Instead of having to toggle through a couple menus, you can just hit it once, turn it on, and be ready to party. So the way that I like to use that is, you know, if I had it set for Rev Match, right, and say I'm cruising some back roads and, you know, I'm on the highway, I don't want Rev Match on, boom, I undo my favorite. But then I hit the back roads, I want to do a little spirited driving, I'm a little bit lazy, don't feel like Rev Matching today, or I don't know how, I forgot. I just turn the favorite on and it does it for me. Same with launch control. Maybe you're at a light, maybe dude with another unnamed brand vehicle pulls up next to you and you want to flex on him a little bit. You hit him with a little bit, bump, 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 and then he just like puts his head down and doesn't want none, you know what I'm talking about. But that's how you use it, you know. Auto hold, that will hold you from rolling backwards. So you never know, you might be driving in San Francisco one day and you're like, you know what, I want auto hold because I don't want to roll backwards, I don't be riding my clutch. So you just hit the button, automatically use the brake for you, and then once you let the clutch out and drive, you're all good, automatically turns off. So super cool feature. Again, accessibility. Like Ford has thought of just about everything under the sun to put in the Mustang to make it accessible, to make it fun and personalizable. And that is why we're here talking about it, so you can use it, friends. So accessibility, right? That's another word you're probably tired of hearing me say, but everything is so accessible. So now we're moving over to the steering wheel, right? You've got tons of tech on your steering wheel, and ones that I use the most are your drive modes. The drive modes consist of custom, which we'll get into later, drag strip for high performance driving. This adjusts the transmission shift schedule for aggressive shifting and higher engine speeds, optimizing performance at maximum throttle. Accelerator pedal responsiveness increases, and the steering is set to sport setting for enhanced driver connectivity and feedback. Adaptive dampers are optimized for straight line maximum acceleration, and active exhaust is set to its loudest setting for a more powerful tone. Use this mode for driving on a closed circuit drag strips where optimal straight line performance is needed. Normal mode. This for everyday driving. This mode is the perfect balance of excitement, comfort, and convenience. It's the default mode after each ignition cycle, and all systems altered by drive mode control are adjusted to their base setting. Slippery. This is for your less than ideal road conditions such as snow or ice covered roads. Use this mode for crossing terrain where loose or slippery materials cover a hard surface. Slippery mode allows lower throttle response and optimizes shifting for slippery surfaces. Sport. It's for sporty driving and improved performance handling and response. This mode increases accelerator pedal responsiveness, holds the transmission in lower gears longer for autos, and changes the steering feel to have more torque buildup, enhancing driver connectivity and feedback. Chassis controls are switchable to their sport settings. The adjustable suspension is modified to provide firmer and more responsive dynamics. Additionally, exhaust sound is changed to its sport setting for a louder and more aggressive tone. Use this mode for a fun and engaging driving experience. Track mode. For high performance track driving, this mode increases throttle response and adjusts the transmission shift schedule to both hold lower gears longer for faster acceleration and downshift more aggressively under braking. Traction and stability control intervention is reduced and tuned specifically for track usage. If equipped, the adaptive dampers are optimized for transient handling maneuvers, and active exhaust is open to take on a more powerful tone. Additionally, steering is switched to its sport setting for enhanced connectivity and driver feedback. Use this mode for on-road road courses, autocross style events, and on-road closed circuit track driving, including drifting. The other thing I want to talk about is the traction control button. So all of the drive modes have their own stability control calibration. They also are limiting to some drivers. Please drive within your means, always, prior to me telling you what I'm about to tell you. If you turn off the traction control button, meaning a one press on the traction control button, it will allow you to blow the tires off the car. But as soon as you start to get a little bit of yaw, it is going to shut you down and intervene to keep you straight because it thinks that you're having a situation. So the way to get around all of the nannies and turn everything off for you expert drivers is to hold the traction control button for 5 seconds. You will see something come up that says AdvanceTrac off, and that is when you know your AdvanceTrac is off. All stability is off. You can do donuts, you can go drifting, you will have no nannies on the road course. That being said, you better be ready for it, because if you go over the limit, you better know how to catch the car, because it will not be there for you. Frankly, the track mode is extremely good for 90% of the people that I know. It allows you just enough room to get, push the car hard, slide out of turns just a little bit, but it keeps you reined in when you go beyond the limit where most people can't catch it. So please, please, please know your driving capabilities. This is a very, very sophisticated machine that can get you in a lot of trouble if you don't know what you're doing. But it can also make you feel like a superhero if you use the tools that Ford has given you to help you progress. Another really cool feature of the 7th Gen Mustang is over-the-air updates. So you can connect to the cloud. Either you have service for your car on the car's modem, or you can connect to a hotspot on your cell phone, and it allows you to get updates from Ford, whatever they may be. So the coolest things I mentioned previously is the cluster updates. They're sending those out. I have to imagine that Ford is going to continue unlocking and enhancing our experience with the new Mustang as time goes on, but it also allows Ford the opportunity to troubleshoot as well as give you vehicle updates as they come out. So there is connectivity to the car and the cloud, and we're just starting to see some of the really cool features of how this can be used. Ford's also enabled a way for you to just send voice notes to them for anything you're thinking about, that whether you like about your car, you don't like, suggested changes, which is really cool. I mean, who else is taking feedback from customers at that level? Our squad at Ford, let's go. So going back to the custom modes, you can have up to 6 presets of drive mode configurations that you want. This is where you can choose your stability control, whether you're normal, track, slippery, sport, you get the gist. You can set your traction control here, you can set your steering feel, and you can set your dampers and exhaust if you have those options, all inside of the custom mode. So it's a really easy option for you to have your presets for the types of driving that you like to do and frequent, rather than having to go set them manually every time. I absolutely love that. I've explained a lot of these different features, and I want to just kind of show you guys the ease of using them. It's one thing to talk about it, but I just want to show you kind of my flow and how I do these things. Obviously, just to mention, mode buttons right over here on the left of the wheel. You've got your speed limiter, your cruise control, and if you have adaptive cruise, this car with the 3 lines behind it allow you to set how far you're comfortable with getting with your adaptive cruise control. So now moving over to the dash, to all the track apps. One thing that's pretty cool too, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can move your Mustang around. dun, 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 whatever view you want to see, or you can just spin it like a little top hat if you want to have some fun with it. But you know, you just hit your My Mustang button, and then this is what comes up. You have your track apps, auxiliary gauges, custom mode, MyColor, cluster theme, all the things I mentioned to you. So you go into track apps. The acceleration timer is pretty self-explanatory. You hit the acceleration timer, you set what you're trying to do, 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, 1/8 mile, 1/4 mile. You can do the acceleration timer, you can set to start automatically. You can do drag race lights to practice your lights, or you can do track race lights. All fun things to do, right? Gamification, enjoying the vehicle. So as soon as you want to go, you press OK, and then as soon as you start to accelerate, that starts. What I love about this is you can practice your launches for drag racing, for those fun times you're out having a good time with your friends in other safe areas, but you can know exactly what RPM to leave at, how hard to leave. It'll allow you to test your launch control and things like that. So I really love it for that type of tool, and it's fun. And you know, I like fun. So now brake performance, exactly the same setup as acceleration, just opposite. So I'm not gonna go into that. And some of you might be like, yeah, Vaughn, we know this stuff, but you'd be surprised at how many people are kind of scared to press buttons on their car. You know, so I really want people to be using their car, which is why I'm doing this entire thing. And hopefully, for those of you that are like, yeah, we get it, Vaughn, we know, hopefully you find something fun and new in this. But for those of you that are complete newbies, I really hope this is helpful for you. Lap timer, very simple. You go into the lap timer, you set what track you're at, you press the start button, and then you press OK on the wheel when you want to start. And every lap, you just click the OK button at your start finish line, and then that keeps track of your laps. Next thing is launch settings. Super self-explanatory. You simply click on that, you change your RPM to what you want. Again, did you change your tires? Is it cold out? Are you at the drag strip? Is it super sticky? You know, what's your goals? And you can adjust your launch. But it's really this simple. You hit enable on it, and once you set it, put it in gear, and your launch control's on, and it's just sitting there. 3,200 RPM. You may want to go a little more hot rod. You know, you may want to go to 6,400 because you want to pull a wheelie. Right? Amazing, right? Super, super cool features. Shift indicator, same thing. Where do you want your shift point to be on? Do you want to turn the lights on where the lights are flashing at you or not? Very, very simple scenarios. Line lock, very simple on the line lock. You turn the line lock on, well then all your attention is on the main cluster. You have your clutch in, or if it's automatic, it'll tell you to put your foot on the brake, initialize by pressing OK. You just follow the prompts. Once it says it's ready, you either stand on the throttle or dump the clutch and stand on the throttle. Your front tires will be locked, and there's a countdown to where it will release your brakes. If you go past that, you're gonna start moving. So either shut it down by lifting off throttle if it's an automatic, or clutch in if it's a clutch when you come up close to that time. Or if you're in a burnout box and you can accelerate out, then just let the brakes, you know, disengage and just accelerate out until you're ready to shut it down. Simple stuff. Rev Match, already mentioned that. Simple on and off button. Self-explanatory. You don't have to do anything except for drive the car, and it'll make sure that you have match revs when you downshift. The last thing, you know, moving in there, you have your custom mode. So you have up to 6 profiles where you can set base drive mode. So, you know, you can do a sport mode with a normal steering or a traction control off, and then you can set your cluster for that exact mode. So I really love that. For me, I'll have something different for the track, something different for just cruising on the street. And then as far as cluster theme, very simple. You go to cluster theme, you can either match your drive mode, which will use the defaults of the Ford settings, or you can set your favorite theme for always. And then of course, we have 3 downloadable ones. We got the 67 to 68 Mustang, we've got the 87 to 93 Fox body, and the 99 to 01 SVT Cobra, which is currently available. And I'm sure Ford's got some other things up their sleeve. Maybe I could request a spaceship one, a fighter jet, and the Jetsons car would be cool. That's that. that's the MyMustang. That's all the track apps, all that customization. The other thing is this little star button down here. This is your favorites button. Right now, I have it set in my car to Rev Match on, but you can set other settings, and you can set that to either launch control, which we talked about, AutoHold, which will help you from rolling backwards, Rev Match, exhaust mode, and then calm screen. If you're just like, too much intensity, this Mustang's, I'm having way too much fun, and I just want to be calm and not see a bunch of stuff on my dash, which some people might want that, not me. I like all the informations. So when you go to MyColor, you'll notice a slider bar of colors. You have a primary setting, a secondary setting under displays. Primary is like your fuel gauge, your temperature, your RPM, and then secondary is the kind of the ambient, if you will. So the color around the gauges, things like that. But as soon as you move it on here, you can see it moving on your dash, which is really cool. And then under ambient lighting, you've got your color and your brightness, and these are some of the accent lights in the vehicle. So you can set those to whatever you want, all the RGB and many tones in between. So again, super intuitive, super self-explanatory, but wanted to show it for those of you that are like, I don't want to push any buttons. My dealer didn't tell me anything. I don't know. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode of How to Mustang with our focus on technology. Hopefully, it enables you to understand your Mustang better, use its features, and have more fun from behind the wheel. If you have any more questions, make sure you toss them in the comments below, and we'll consider them for a future episode. Have fun, enjoy that Mustang, and most importantly, keep a smile on your face, friends.